Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today I will be introducing a new house to my channel, house of Sultan Pasha. Obviously, these samples do not show what house it is. I had these samples from Sultan Pasha for probably over the year now. Not only this, I have the full set, but it broke a little, so I just took the portion that is relevant for today's review. The attar I am reviewing today is Thebes, first grade edition. I have smelled this attar more than a few times over the time I own it. If you can see it on my sample, I don't know if it's visible, but it's the one with the least attar left. The obvious reasons for this is because I found it basically the most enjoyable attar from the whole set, and why I decided to do this review exactly now is because I ordered a bottle. If you don't know, Sultan Pasha finally, after many years of promises, let's say, finally released his sprayable perfumes, and one of them is Thebes. So I technically blind bought it. Only technically because, first of all, well, I have smelled the attar, so obviously I expect the sprayable perfume to be similar. And second of all, I love this Pasha practice he's doing. I mentioned it in previous videos. When you buy a bottle from him, you get a small sample with the bottle, and if you don't like it, you can return it. So yeah, if I don't like it, I will return it. The story with me and Sultan Pasha is very complicated, you can say, in a way. First attar I ever got from him was Chypre Chrysanthemum, I think, the floral Chypre attar he had. I loved it, and to this day it is my favorite Sultan Pasha attar. Funny how I landed on the, for me, best one of the get-go, but the problem with that attar was that it's, in my opinion, leaning feminine, and one of my female frag friends, enjoyed it so much, she asked me to sell it to her, and well, I did. Half a year forward, I bought the full sample set. It's containing, I think, 30 something samples. 30, yeah. Last one is 30. I don't know, probably 30. So yeah, the problem with Sultan Pasha for me, and this won't be a problem for most of you, I find his attars, simply put, too strong. He achieves that with, I am sure, many techniques, but one of the techniques is the thing that I despise in regular niche, and it is synthetic musks. Sultan Pasha does not use organic natural deer musk, and fair enough. It's, again, he wants to be a animal friendly brand, it's okay. But for me, for my personal taste, and that's just me, one guy, he uses a little bit more synthetics in his attars than I would love him to do. It's for obvious reasons. If you, for example, visit any perfume show, like Ensence or whatever, there are so many fragrances, so many smells in the air, and regular attars would mostly die in all this chaos of niche perfumery, of sprayable perfumes that contain alcohol. Even so, somehow, Sultan Pasha attars, they project, they dominate, they overshadow all the sprayable synthetic musk and all the enhanced with alcohol sprayable perfumes by being an atars. And obviously, Sultan Pasha lives, or at least lived, in UK. His target audience, I imagine, is Westerners. And let's say, two of the main difficulties with selling atars to Westerners is, first of all, they don't like this process of, applying it. It's not they're not that they don't like it, they're just not used to it, let's put it that way. And second of all, most traditional atars, they last a very long time, but they do not project. Simple reason, there's no alcohol in there, and alcohol evaporates and disperses the scent the fastest. That's why it's used as a carrier in all perfumery. But by doing his techniques, by adding, in my opinion, quite huge amounts of synthetics into his atars, Pasha manages to overcome this shortcoming, let's say, of an attar, and therefore he is immensely popular in Western world. At least as an attar maker, he is as popular as an attar maker in Western world can get. Me being kind of snob, but yeah, I guess I am. But mainly I don't feel very positive about synthetics. Even today, in the morning I sprayed Nishane Karagoz fragrance. I have a bottle since my early days of collecting, and I remember I never was crazy about it, but I thought it was quite good quality, pretty fine fragrance. I thought I will do maybe a review today of it. I'm not sure, maybe I will, maybe I won't, but the thing, it's so synthetic. I didn't remember it being this synthetic, this screechy, this beast mode, whatever. And of course, Sultan Pasha atars are not to that extent. He's still an artisanal creator. He understands the value of naturals, the value of high quality ingredients. But what I'm trying to say, that my tolerance for synthetics are getting lower and lower basically every year. So with most of these atars, and in over a year, I think most of them I only wore once. So I really should come back to them, and I will. But the projection, the overwhelming strength, the strange behavior for attar, let's say, it a little bit pulled me away from them. I have them for a long time, but as I said, as you see, no reviews, no nothing on my channel about them, and I have plenty of people asking me to do Sultan Pasha reviews, but in many cases I had nothing to say, at least too positive. At the same time, I understand that I'm a reviewer. I review with my own taste, but if I am doing a review, it should be at least somewhat objective one. And if I find, in this case, them too strong, that's my opinion. But I should also be able to say the positives, because there are plenty of positives in these creations. And therefore, I started with the one that I like the most. I like it enough, let's say, to buy a sprayable perfume. I don't like it enough to buy an attar. It's quite expensive one, I think 350 something euros for 3 grams. The reason why I didn't buy an attar and instead I chose to blind buy a sprayable perfume is basically the same synthetics. Or not necessarily synthetics, but let's say the strength. This attar, it's too strong for me, simply put. And I expect that in sprayable form, the concentration will obviously be of materials will obviously be lower. And my prediction is that I enjoy this DNA very much, and I predict that probably the sprayable perfume will be more to my liking. I can't imagine him making the spray as opulent, as strong, as beast mode as this attar is. If it's so, well, I will just return it. No harm, no foul. And obviously, when I get the bottle, I will wear it, and some day in the future, if you're interested, subscribe to the channel. I will obviously do the sprayable perfume review. I've seen that not many reviews of these Sultan Pasha sprayable perfumes are out there on YouTube, and as my channel tend to do, I'm very much into covering less covered artisanal and others vintage maybe fragrances. So yeah, that one is coming. Now let's talk about the bull in the room, the Thebes grade 1 edition. What's the difference between grade 1 and grade 2? Well, grade 1 costs 350 and grade 2 costs like 100 something. Basically just the materials used in grade 1 are higher quality and higher quantity, and the true form of this attar Sultan Pasha envisioned, and the grade 2 is the one you buy if you just want to try it. And you don't care about the animalics, naturals, and stuff like that. You just like the DNA. What is this DNA? Well, to begin with, it is, in my mind, basically a vintage masculine fragrance from the 80s. Think in line of YSL Opium for Men, something like that. It has this obvious green leaning sun profile, and the thing in this attar that attracted me the most is iris. I don't know if I told you this before, but in many fragrances, iris is the note that eludes me the most. I kinda know how it smells. I never smelled raw iris, and that would solve this problem immediately, but well, I don't have a raw iris at my disposal. But I kinda know how iris smells, or at least I know what to expect from iris. But at least in my mind, the image of iris, how I imagine it, in many fragrances, I rarely get the full picture of iris. At least the iris that I imagine that it is, how it's supposed to smell. For example, in Iris Gallia from Ansar Oud, yeah, there is this powderiness that we associate with iris. I get a little bit of the iris note there, of course, but the black currant and obviously the musk, it just overwhelms the iris itself. And in my opinion, Iris Gallia is not good reference to learn how iris smells. I don't know, Mia's Iris Cacao, I barely get any iris there at all. I don't even get the powderiness. So here in Thebes, for me, iris is basically the main note. And this is, for me, how iris smells. So that's basically the first reason I enjoy the most of these whole attars. The iris, it's here. If you're an iris lover, if you enjoy it, if you want to smell full picture of this note, it is here in Thebes. Second reason why I enjoy this fragrance, it has this, as I said, vintage masculine green type smell. It is mentholic. So for me, the combination of green mentholic vibes with iris, and there's some other florals, creates this easy to wear, fresh, even I would say office scent, friendly fragrance that you can wear basically anywhere and anytime. And that sounds boring. Sultan Pasha is anything but not boring. Why? In his write-up, he is talking about life and death and stuff like that, and like with most write-ups, most of the time they make no sense. But here, what I found interesting, and him mentioning death kind of made sense, In the florals he mentions, I can only like smell jasmine, and he mentions rose. I don't find any strange florals there, but the smell I get, and well, this might sound a little bit strange. If you ever been to a funeral, let's say, the indoor part where everybody gathers, they put their funeral flowers. There's this cold aura in the building to keep the body fresh and the flowers fresh. And there this smell, this funeral flowers cold smell. And it is here in Thebes. And it is not in the opening, and it is not overwhelming or dominating the fragrance, but it is here, lingering somewhere in the background. So when I read the musing of talking about life and death, and the opening is quite citrusy, it's floral, it's quite bright, it's quite fun, and this lurking in the background funeral flower smell, I think it's one of the few musings which, when you smell the scent, you kind of get it. It's not nonsense, it makes sense. So he managed to create a sun profile that is at the same time office friendly and smells a little bit of funerals. I think that's quite funny. I think it's quite interesting. And I find it interesting enough to buy a sprayable perfume. As you probably know by now, I quite enjoy green scents. I enjoy masculine scents, but given that iris is here, it's still, in my opinion, unisex. If you're an iris lover, female or male, it doesn't matter. I think you can pull it off. But green iris with dominant iris note, where there are other flowers, but they're not present, like rose. I know it's rose. He mentioned few rose, but I don't smell it. I mean, it probably contributes to the texture or feel of the fragrance or something like that, but this is by far not a rose type scent. It's something unique. It's not something unique in terms of, wow, I have never smelled this sun profile in my life, because I have. As I said, it's basically 80s men fragrances, something like that, maybe 70s, doesn't matter, but it's a vintage men's fragrance created with very high quality iris and probably other materials, but mainly iris. And it has this interesting twist of funeral flowers in the background of the scent. So when I'm looking for fragrances, the maybe 4 pillars I'm looking for is pleasant, unique, not too synthetic or strong, and main pillar of all this, it should smell high quality. And out of these 4, this fragrance has 3. Yeah, good. I use this finger. Good choice, Paulus. Good choice. So yeah, 3 out of 4 is pretty good. I hope the sprayable perfume will have all 4. So if you're interested in seeing my opinion and comparison to the Attar on this channel, please don't forget to push the subscribe button. That is all from me today. Have a good evening and goodbye.